Today we're going to cover a very important topic, time. We will cover all the basic concepts which we need to know before we do the past papers. Okay, this video will help the grade 6, 7 students also, which are starting with the concept of time. And also it will be useful for the students who will be appearing for their O-levels. So as we're going to start with the elementary level and then we move on to the difficult questions, and we'll do questions from the past papers also. So there'll be a series of short videos which you need to follow to understand this concept. Now there are a few terms which we need to understand here. Firstly, it's the departure time. Departure time or the starting time of the journey. This is the time when the journey starts. Okay, I'm going to refer this with departure time and sometimes with ST, starting time. Okay, then the next term which we need to understand is the arrival time or the ending time of the journey. In this video, I'm going to refer this with AT, or I'm going to use ET for this, ending time. Then the third term which we need to understand is the duration of the journey. Duration is the time for which the journey actually lasts. Okay, so I'm going to refer this with duration only, or the journey time. The basic formula which you need to learn for this is that the arrival time is always equals to the departure time plus the journey time. This is the basic formula which we need to remember. Arrival time equals to departure time plus journey time. Now let me give you an example. If a journey starts from Karachi in the morning at 8:45 and it ends in Hyderabad at say 12:38. Okay, and you need to find out the duration for this journey. So the basic formula which we know is arrival time equals to departure time plus journey time. If we make departure time the subject, departure time is going to be arrival time minus the journey time. Now departure time is arrival time minus the journey time. We will write down the arrival time first. Then we're going to subtract the journey time from this and we will get the departure time this way. Okay, hours here, minutes here. For this question, you need to understand one thing, and that is you have to keep time in 24-hour clock notation for all these questions. If you want to apply this formula, I'm talking about this formula. If you want to apply this formula, the better idea is to keep all your times, the journey starting time and the departure ending time in 24-hour clock notation, because it's really easy and simpler to do questions this way. Okay, the ending time of the journey is 12 hours 38 minutes and the starting time of the journey is 8:45. Now first of all, you need to ask yourself, can you subtract 45 minutes? Can you subtract 45 minutes from 38 minutes? You cannot subtract 45 minutes from 38 minutes. So you have to first actually borrow an hour from the hours column. Now there are 12 hours in the hours column. You borrow an hour from here, so you will be left with 11 hours. 1 hour when it goes to the minute column. Now we are shifting 1 hour from the hours column to the minutes column. Now if you notice 1 hour when it goes to the minute column, it becomes 60 minutes. Now you're left with, previously you had 38 minutes, now 60, if you add it to 38, you get 98 minutes. Now 98 minus 45 is actually 53 minutes. Okay, 11 hours minus 8 hours is actually 3 hours. So the duration of the journey is 3 hours and 53 minutes. Okay, so basic formula which you need to learn for simple questions is that arrival time is departure time plus the journey time. From this formula, you can derive the formula for departure time, which is departure time equals to arrival time minus the journey time, and journey time equals to arrival time minus the departure time. Okay, learn one thing. In the formula of arrival time, you have been supposed to add the departure time and the journey time, but in the formula of departure time and the journey time, there is subtraction and the arrival time comes first. So you need to keep this in your mind. We'll do questions which will help you to understand how to do these subtractions and additions. Okay, starting with the first question here. It says it's a table given to us, and it says the first column is the departure time, the second column is the journey time or the duration, and the third column is the arrival time. I'm starting to do the first question. Okay, the data says the departure time is 2:40. You know, 2:40 and 24-hour clock is 2:40 at night, which we call night. Okay, journey time is 55 minutes. We're supposed to find out the arrival time. We first write down the formula for arrival time, which is departure time plus the journey time. We're going to write departure time first. Departure time is 2:40. We're going to add the journey time in this, which is 55 minutes. This is hours, this is minutes. We're supposed to add them, and finally we'll get the arrival time when we add. Okay, this is the question. Now let's start solving. 40 plus 55. 40 plus 55 is actually 95. So, but you cannot write 95 here. The reason being 95 minutes is not there in our clock. So we have it till 60 minutes. Okay. Now you know that 95 minutes is actually 1 hour and 35 minutes. Because 1 hour is 60 minutes, 95 minus 60 gives you 35. So it's 1 hour, 35 minutes. You keep 35 minutes in the minutes column and give 1 hour to the hours column. Now you already had 2 hours here. 1 added to 2 gives you 3. So it will be 3 hours and 35 minutes. So the answer for arrival time will be 3 hours and 35 minutes. So I'm writing it down here, 3 hours, 35 minutes. I'm not doing the second question. Okay, let's do the second question also. The B part, if you notice. Okay, the B part, let's write down the data for the B part. It says the departure time is now let me do the B part. In the B part, they give you the data, which is departure time is 22:35 and the journey time is 8 hours. And you're supposed to find out the arrival time. We know the formula for arrival time is departure time plus the journey time. We're going to write down the departure time here, 22:35. This is hours, this is minutes. Okay, we will add journey time to this, which is 8 hours. And we're going to add them up together to get the arrival time. Okay, 35 plus 0 minutes is 35 minutes only. 22 plus 8 gives us 30. 35 is the arrival time, but do we have 30 in our 24-hour clock? We have it till 24, okay? And then the next day actually starts. That means the arrival is the next day. The journey started at 22:35 and 12-hour clock, it's 10:35 p.m. and it lasted for 8 hours. It lasted for 8 hours so that the next day actually started. Now, whenever you have the next day starts, the clue is that the arrival time will exceed 24 hours. In that case, what you're supposed to do to get the time of the next day, you will subtract 24 hours from the time which you're getting after the solution. Okay, so we're going to subtract 24 hours from this arrival time. So arrival time right now is 30:35. We will subtract 24 hours from this. So the answer is going to be 6:35. So you will say that the arrival took place at 6:35 the next day. Okay, so I'm just writing this down. The answer is 6:35. If you want, you can write it here the next day. Otherwise, it's obvious. Okay, let's do the next part of this question. Okay. The third part, the departure time is given to us as 15:45 and the arrival time which is given to us here is 1750. We need to find out the journey time. Okay, for journey time, the formula says arrival time minus the departure time. Okay, we'll start solving the question. We'll write hours here, minutes here, hours and minutes. Okay, we will go write down departure time here. Sorry, we will write arrival time first on the top. We'll write arrival time minus the departure time. When we will solve, you get the journey time here. The arrival time is 1750. The departure time is 1545. When we'll subtract, we will get the journey time. Now, first of all, you're going to subtract 45 minutes from 50 minutes. You'll get 5 minutes here. 15 hours you have to subtract from 17 hours. So 17 minus 15 gives you 2. So the journey actually took 2 hours and 5 minutes. So you'll write 2 hours, 5 minutes here. Okay, the next part of the question, the D part. The arrival time is given to us, which is 22:16. The journey time, departure time is also given to us, which is 9:48. And you're supposed to find out the journey time. The formula for journey time we know is arrival time minus the departure time. Okay, we'll write arrival time on the top, departure time underneath, subtract the two to get the journey time, hours here and minutes here. Okay, arrival time is 22:16. Journey time, departure time is 9:48. Now the question arises is that since you're supposed to subtract 45 minutes from 16 minutes, this is not possible. From 16 minutes, you cannot subtract 48 minutes. So what you will do is borrow an hour from the hours column, okay, and bring it to the minutes column. How will you go about doing that? You will have to take 1 hour from here, so you'll be left with 21 hours here. 1 hour, when it goes to the minute column, it becomes 60 minutes. So 60 plus 16, overall 76 minutes. You've got 76 minutes. 76 minus 48 gives you 28 minutes. 21 minus 9 hours. From 21 hours, if you subtract 9 hours, you'll be left with 12 hours. So the journey time is 12 hours and 28 minutes. Okay, then we move on to the next question. Next part. It says the arrival is on Wednesday, 7:15. Departure was Tuesday, 20:35. And we are supposed to find out the journey time. Let's write down the data. The arrival time is 7:15 on a Wednesday. Okay. The departure time is 20:35 on Tuesday. Okay, and you're supposed to find out the journey time. The formula for journey time we know is arrival time minus the departure time. Always notice one thing, whenever the arrival is the next day, like in this case, the journey started on Tuesday and it ended on Wednesday. It ended on Wednesday. So what we will do is, you will always notice if you keep on writing like this, you're obviously supposed to subtract from arrival time, you're supposed to subtract the departure time, and you will get the journey time. You will notice one thing, that the arrival time, the hours is smaller as compared to the hours of the departure time. Let's see, 7:15 Wednesday is the arrival time and the departure time is 20:35. Now the problem here is that you cannot subtract 35 minutes from 15 minutes. So obviously you're supposed to borrow 1 hour from the hours column. Now when you borrow 1 hour from the hours column, you'll be left with 6 hours here. And from 6 hours, you cannot subtract 20 hours. So, but since we know that the arrival is the next day, what we have to do as a first step is, in the arrival time which is given to us, which is 7:15 in this case, you add 24 hours. Okay, because the next day has started, so you will add 24 hours to this. 7 hours plus 24 hours is 31 hours. So it will be 31:15. Okay, so here in place of 7:15, you will have to write 31:15. Now you can go ahead with the subtraction process. You cannot subtract 35 minutes from 15 minutes. So you need to borrow 1 hour from the hours columns, 31 hours you had, now it has become 30 hours. 1 hour has gone into the minutes column, that has become 60. So 60 plus 15 actually is 75. 75 minus 35 gives you 40 minutes. 30 minus 20 is 10. Okay, so the journey time is going to be 10 hours and 40 minutes. Okay, the last part of this question is when the arrival time is given to us as 23:50. Okay, but before I start with this, I need to pinpoint one thing here is that, and that is 1 hour is actually 60 minutes. Half an hour is 60 divided by 2, which is 30 minutes. 1/4 of an hour is 60 divided by 4, which is 15 minutes. Okay, and 3/4 of an hour is 60 multiplied by 3 upon 4, which is actually 45 minutes. Okay, so you need to learn that 1/4 of an hour is 15 minutes always, and 3/4 of an hour is 45 minutes. When the question says that the journey time takes 1/4 hours, that means this journey time is actually 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so we're supposed to solve it. Arrival time is given to us in the question, which is 23:50. Journey time is given, which is 1 hour and 15 minutes. And you're supposed to find out the departure time. Formula for departure time is arrival time minus the journey time. Okay, so you're going to write arrival time here, subtract journey time from this, and you will get the departure time. Hours here and minutes here. Okay, arrival time is 23:50. Journey time is 1 hour and 15 minutes. When you start subtracting, 50 minus 15 gives you 35. 23 minus 1 is 22. So the departure was 22:35. We've done this first question. Okay, now follow the next video for word problems dealing with this concept. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.